We're going to talk about the 3-year-olds now. It's actually a beautiful day here in Buffalo. Cold, 26. It feels a lot colder than that.
It's the wind.
Yeah, it's vicious cold here.
And I got wiggly teeth.
You got a wiggly tooth. That fits right in. Well, we didn't do a video of wiggly tooths. Should we do that? We're going to talk about the 3-year-olds. We're going to start with Arrowhead Hanover now. Amy has been the one that trained Arrowhead Hanover the last 3 weeks. Why don't you tell us about Arrowhead Hanover?
Oh, I'm very impressed with him. He's doing everything perfectly.
How was he following?
You didn't seem to think he was trotting good today.
Well, it just seemed like,
You're like, oh,
I thought he'd be a little more powerful when you wheeled him out of the hole, and then he hit the bike once or twice. And then, when you went by, it wasn't like he wasn't going by on all cylinders. He just kind of got up and won. So, which is a telling training mile, because Tuesday they worked hard in that mud, and then they come back Friday with another training session. If he didn't come back spry on Friday, leads me to believe that he's not quite ready yet. Probably another 2-3 weeks away, which I assumed he was anyway. So it wasn't that I wasn't impressed, but gorgeous package. Feels like she'd go mile 55 right now. Like she was, I literally, no joke, I don't really care, but I had to pull her over backwards and let you go by down by the wire. She was very, very strong.
Well,
but she's also a pacer. She's small, doesn't wear any poles or boots.
But I also felt like I might lose him in the last turn, so I wasn't really letting him go.
No, that's fine, and that's perfectly fine. I thought the horse did his work well. He's slated to be ready for March 1st, and he is well on his way to being ready on March 1st. Aunt Lily today made a break on Jason. A little pacey, but as I said, and Jason was one that said it also after, she wore toe weights and bell boots last year and flip-flops. Now she just has a set of 9/16 on and hobbles, but she looked great the other day. But again, we were in the mud the other day. Today the track was hard, and she got pacey and made a break. You don't have to be Columbo to figure it out. We're not going to need to call the FBI. I think we can figure it out all on our own. Her feet are a little pinchy today. So do we get concerned about it? No, not at this point. I think the first thing we'll do is just try a set of bell boots. I'm not going to rush out and put flip-flops and toe weights back on her. And I'll tell you why. If we put the flip-flops on her, she's more apt to maybe chew at herself a little bit behind. And now you're getting away from being able to train her and race her without hobbles on. That's my 2 cents. I think we just stay the course, put a set of bell boots on her, and I think Aunt Lily will be fine. Another filly that isn't slated to be ready until, as I said, March the 1st anyway. Bluebird Tuxedo Hill qualified today. James thought that maybe he was a B-track horse, that he isn't an A-track horse. That doesn't mean that you're going to see his name on gate or preferred right away. I think that there's a spot for him. Listen, I don't think Canoe is a stake horse either. But he's a useful horse, and he hit the winner's circle the other night, and that's really what we're after. You just want to have useful animals, and I think the Bluebird Tuxedo Hill, wherever that might be, he'll be a useful animal. Blue Ventura is in Saturday now. He drew the 10-hole in a 10-horse field last week. He drew the 8-hole in an 8-horse field this week. Not a very good start to your sophomore campaign. Train down good, work your butt off, and then get to the track, get thrown to the wolves. It's just very, very tough. But unfortunately, that's racing. Cadell, we just talked about him. He was awesome the other night. I was thoroughly surprised and impressed by the race that horse put in. Really, really happy with Cadell. Captain Incredible was great. We went to train him today, though, and he had a temperature of 101.2. Not very high, but you're not training horses. Certainly not training Captain Incredible with a slight temperature. I just asked Eric and Kathy maybe to mash him, jog him light today, mash him, and then by mash him, I mean we give him a hot bran mash for lunch. And then tomorrow morning, wake up and take his temperature again. If it's under 100.8 where it's supposed to be, then we'll likely train him a slow mile tomorrow. And if it's not, then he won't. And that's where we're at with Captain. But he was very, very good on Tuesday's training mile. I was thoroughly impressed with him. Century Legion, I told you guys, just baby steps with this horse. Got him to the track. He was problematic. He made those breaks in the qualifiers. We put the hobbles on him. He still didn't look super comfortable. Raced him last week. Still had to watch him. And then the other night, I put him in an impossible position, and he just shone through. Found a way to get to the winner's circle, and that's what winners do. So you can't make a winner. He is or he isn't, and he wants to get the job done. And I was impressed with his overall attitude. Chicago Hall, I'm going to see him tomorrow at Tomiko Training Center. What?
Not Tomiko Training Center.
No, not Tomiko. At First Line. Stop. First Line Training Center. We'll see how he looks tomorrow, him and Resolve Indeed. Country Dancing qualified today. She's definitely going to need another qualifier. It's so hard when you're qualifying on a bad track to try to extrapolate. Is she ready? Is she not? What is that mile in 59? Is that a mile in 55? Is that a...
Arson went 59.
Yeah, Arson went 59. I know. So what is that? I don't know. But I know one thing. From what I saw, she probably needs another qualifying line, I would imagine. Dancing by Myself is on his way to Ohio. This will be, he's got to come forward now. We shot him in a way that he's trotting better. He looks better, but he's just not putting in the effort we need him to. I'll know more when I get a real close look at him in Ohio. I'm not confident he'll get around Northfield Park perfectly, but we'll see. We'll see how he looks. We'll see how he races. Maybe we run him over to the Meadows, or, God forbid we take him down to Miami Valley. But he's going to have to come forward. And if he doesn't, then it'll be somebody else's job, someone else's burn to figure out Dancing by Myself. Fire and Shine trained great today. I know she went a mile and 2.3. She's not quite ready to go. Her or Grand Slam Deal. That was a fantastic mile, but we're going to put a little more groundwork into them. A mile and a half on Wednesday. Another good stiff training mile. Another good stiff training mile on Saturday, and then we'll come back and qualify them at least once. I think you're going to see them going totally different paths. I think Fire and Shine will race at Northfield Park, whereas Grand Slam Deal, my overall objective is to get her over to Mohawk sooner than later. Foxy Seaside is in tonight. This filly here, we don't talk about her enough. I am really excited to watch her race tonight. I was a little disappointed the races were canceled last Friday, but I'm eager to see what she's going to do tonight. Freedom Hill trained good this morning, 2.9. Again, most of these sophomores are slated for a March 1st start in 2025, and that's the plan. That's a plan we're attempting to execute, and that's a plan we're gonna move forward with. So whether it be on Lily, Freedom Hill, or any of those horses, we expect them to be ready on March the 1st. Freedom Hill is well on her way, trained good today. Gaslight Hall trained with Momentum Mori today. Gaslight Hall is a good 6 weeks from the races. We gave him a little more time. We're bringing back, did some work on his knees today. We're going to continue to address those as we train him down. He looked good today. He's been looking good, and we'll continue to watch him as we get closer to the races. Gorgeous Package was lights out today. I mean, she was awesome. I can't wait to get races for her. She's such a sweetheart to drive. She wears nothing. Bridle, a set of hobbles. That's it. That's the extent of her equipment. And she just goes out and loves her job. What a sweetheart she is to race and to drive. Grand Old Chap, I trained him this week. It's hard to explain. When I trained him at 212, 213, you could see the racehorse starting to shine through a bit, but he needed help. He needed weight up front and a little less weight. They wore the hobbles and wore a head pole. We turned him back out, brought him back in. I trained him the other day, and I can honestly say that is the first time he felt like a trotter. He felt like a race horse. Now, I only went a mile and 250, so it's a little silly in saying that, but it's the way he did it, the way he felt doing it. I was happy with Grand Old Chap the other day. Grand Slam Dio has done everything exactly how I hoped she would. She looked great. We put her out. She wasn't as good as we wanted it to. She was okay, and she trotted 54 and a piece once. She was okay, but she just wasn't. Didn't have that killer instinct, and she just wasn't what we wanted her to be yet. And I wondered, would we ever see that? Was it just hopes and dreams? Sure, she's well bred. Doesn't really matter all the time. But when I look at how she trained today, I'm convinced more and more every time I go with her that this is going to be a nice horse. And the mile she went this morning was very strong. And on the front end, so she did it herself. She wasn't following speed. It was not a very good day to train. It was very cold, very windy. The track was hard, and she was absolutely tremendous today. So I'm super excited about Grand Slam Deal. Gymboree was good also. She went a very good mile for Eric today with the other two horses, 3 Point Melisandre went with her. Those were some really, really good training sessions today, and definitely Gymboree is getting closer by the week to racing. High Hopes qualified, won her qualifier today, now 2.5 at Mohawk, but as James said, an absolutely horrendous day. But still, looked like she was collared twice in the last quarter of a mile.
They were well ahead of everybody.
Yeah, and then come back on and won the set and won the qualifier. So good job by her. I Don't Play Nice was training today at the track with Manhattan Money. They're slated to school, I would imagine, next Friday for out of Harry's Barn. I'll grab the passport tonight. I'm a trucker. Out of nowhere, we just added a significant amount of weight to I'm a trucker, and took all the weight off and behind. Changed his gear quite a bit. Went out, and behold, he just went out, went a mile and 2.7 last half and 1.1 in a piece, which I was shocked that he did. So maybe he doesn't have to come to Ontario after all. Maybe we'll be able to finish off his training in Northfield. Wendy's doing some work on the back end, and it keeps popping up. Leggy was good, and her blood work was terrible the other day. So she came back and looked really, really good. I was very happy. After looking at the race again, factoring in her blood work, I was happy with the way Leggy looked. She'll be back next week. Manhattan Money, as I said, training today at Mohawk. I'll have a little more of an update this week for everybody. They were supposed to go around 2.5 at Mohawk. Given the track conditions and the weather, I don't know if 2.5 is sustainable or likely, but we'll know soon enough. Melisandre looked very, very good today training. I was impressed, and she has not impressed me much in 2024. I thought she was okay. I was waiting for her to come around, but since the start of the year, she has been really, really good, and I was thoroughly impressed with her. Today. Memento Mori's been training good. I'm not going to worry too much about Mori for the next 6 weeks. He's just going to go through the process. He goes out and does his work, always has, and that certainly hasn't changed this year. Mountaineer Prince is getting closer to being ready to go. You know, the brakes, he's not going to want me to sit behind him, so he better work it out with Jason, because Prince is going to have a real rough February if he makes another break in our barn. Never Lose Felix is racing tonight. Now, tonight will be a real watershed moment for him. Either he comes forward or he moves into the Ohio barn. That will be up to him and James tonight. Oh, he'll know. Made a break today. Now, the track was hard, which is very, very telling. The track was very hard today, not very forgiving. So why are people going that way when they can go here?
You better go there if you want to talk to.
No, I would rather stop my video than go there. And I'm going to have to anyway. I'm going to have to pick it up after Oh He'll Know. We're at the border right now. There's no reception, and my iPad, the list just cut off. So I'm going to end you right now for now with Oh He'll Know. Oh, there we go. Pop back up. Good. Oh He'll Know was great last week. Now, today the track was a little bit hard. So did that play a role in Oh He'll Know not being very good? I'm not sure. But I'll find out this week. Either way, we'll do a little work on her knees. And we'll go from there. Shh. Pelican Al was training today at Mohawk too. I didn't talk to Dominic yet, but he's got to be, if he's coming forward, he's got to only be 2-3 weeks away from the races. I know it's frustrating for my partners. They said, you don't talk enough about Al. You don't talk enough about this horse. Because there's not a whole lot to talk about. They're getting close to being talked about, but not quite there yet. Resolve Indeed will train tomorrow. Very eager and interested to see how her and Chicago Hall train down. Rose Run AJ and Alexandra trained in 2.5 at the track on Wednesday. I suspect they'll be going over to school next week. I would hope anyway. Rosetta was awesome this week. Applied the hobbles. It was like she wore them her whole life. She only had them on Saturday and raced in them on Wednesday, and she looked lights out. Just jogged and looked really good. Speed of Sound will be back going in 3 weeks. She is swimming and walking right now. She'd hit her hind leg and bruised it in a race. And I was very concerned that we were talking about a tiny hole or a lesion on the suspensory, and I would just pull my hair out. But there was no evidence, even after the ultrasound this week, that there was ever a hole or a lesion on her suspensory. So it's intact. It was never injured. But we are going to give her the benefit of the doubt and continue to swim her for the next 3 weeks. Westland Warrior trained today 2.5 last half in a minute. He looked very good. I saw him train. He looked really, really good on the track. So I'm excited with the way the sophomores are coming along, how close they're getting, how the ones trained today. I can't emphasize enough how impressed I was with Melisandre. Yeah, can I help? What about it?
Range Rover.
Yeah, I know. I see it. Really impressed with Melisandre today, and thoroughly impressed with Grand Slam Dio. So those are my two top trainers of the entire day. Babies went good. Been very, very happy with the way things have been going throughout the month of January into February. It's here now, and we're here now. We're at the border. We're about to cross back into Canada. Hope you guys... Yes, we are. This is the border right here. I hope you guys had a great week. I hope you have a great Friday and an even better rest of your weekend. Take care.